Hello YouTube, I'm a massive fan of the movie Tremors, and I've already made a GRABBOID, which is the creature from that movie. I then made a Shrieker, which is a creature from Tremors 2. In this video I'm going to be making an arse blaster, or an ass blaster, depending on if you're British or American. And that is a creature which flies and farts basically at the same time. So these are the tools that I'll be using. I've got a whole load of sculpting tools here, mainly things like ball styluses and things with good points on. These are tools that are tipped with silicone, so they've got really soft edges to them. Then I've got some forceps if I need them. I've got some little pliers, some wire, which is 2mm aluminium wire. I've also got 1mm in case I need it. Super glue, which is always useful. Kitchen paper, just in case. I may not use that, but it's nice to have it around. A pair of wire cutters, very useful. And then obviously a piece of wood that's going to become the base, and I've got some kitchen foil. That's really useful for working on if you're using milliput. Milliput is a two-part putty. You mix the two parts together in equal amounts and it sets rock hard at room temperature in about 4 hours. There's a little drill vise there as well. Okay, so I started by sawing the end off of that piece of wood to make the base, just to give me a smaller size. I then sanded all the edges so they're all nice and rounded off. This is where the 2mm aluminium wire comes in useful, because you can twist it around itself to make an armature like this. So I start by making 2 holes in the base, and it's important to drill down at a bit of an angle. So I use this little drill vise, drill into it at an angle, put your wire in the hole, but make sure the wire's covered in super glue at the same time. This aluminium wire is so soft and really easy to bend. Whenever you're buying super glue, it's worth buying a bottle like that. It makes it so much cheaper. And you can see here I just bent the leg first to get the joints in the right place. Then I've twisted it to strengthen it, and I've also gone right up, twisting the neck just to leave that little loop at the end where the head's going to be. You can basically go over and over as many times as you want, thickening it up and strengthening it. So you can see on the lower half of the neck I've added more to make it even stronger, and then around the sort of tail end I've gone and thickened that as well. Then the milliput will go over the top of all of this. This is just the armature for in the middle. It's nice that at this stage it's still really flexible, so if you want to pull the legs into a slightly different position you can. Okay, this is with the first bit of milliput on. You can see there's no detail here really at all. It's just a few basic shapes just to kind of start the form off. So I've done that kind of flap under where his belly is, thickened up the neck, and then I've just done a couple of bits at the tops of the legs and gone around the sort of tail end area. Very, very basic at this stage, really quick to do as well. This milliput is called silver grey, and it's probably my favourite of all the milliput colours, just because it's such a light colour that it really shows up all the details nicely. I really like milliput standard as well. That's my kind of next favourite, and it's a really close favourite again because it's a nice light colour. So here I just made the top half of the head. Very basically, it didn't take me very long to get that kind of shape. It's just trying to get it even on both sides. And then I made a couple of little jaws as well. I really like making the lower jaws separately, and then you can just add a blob of milliput in the middle underneath the head and push the lower jaws onto it. There is also going to be a third kind of a middle part to the jaw as well, which I'll make separately. Then it's just a case of letting those bits of jaw dry and the top part of the head. While I'm waiting for that, I can work on the body again, and I decided to go and put the milliput on the legs. And once I got the shapes of like where all the muscles and things were going to be, I just pressed in with a kind of a sharp edge of one of the modelling tools just to get these kind of wrinkle textures. These all soften in a lot more with a bit of water on a brush. You can do that right at the end after you've done all the wrinkles. And then also when you paint it as well, the paint has a softening in effect. You can see that I also added some wrinkles underneath in that sort of belly flap area, but I haven't done any on the neck yet. I'll add those separately later. Where the legs go down and meet the base, I've made it a little bit thicker so that the milliput actually sticks to the wood. That's quite important for obviously making this whole creature stable later on. There is going to be another section to the legs right on the base. It's like an extra long bit where the foot is, so you'll see that separately as well. So the crucial feature of an Arse Blaster is that it flies, or rather glides, so I had to make these wings for it. That's just a case of rolling out the milliput so they're nice kind of flat sheets, and then I just cut these semicircles along the edges and then just kind of pressed it a bit with my fingertips. The rest of this will be done by adding ridges into the wings, which I do separately, and then obviously when I'm painting it as well, I'll be able to get some nice paint effects in there. The next stage for me was to get the feet on and also the head. So you can see here I put the top of the head on first and then added some milliput underneath to attach it to the neck, to that little loop that I made in the wire, do you remember? And then I've added the lower jaw on, including the middle section. That all presses up into that kind of lump of milliput that I've put in under the head. Then for the feet, I've just added 3 toes on each foot. Again, this sticks right onto the wood, so it's really making it stronger overall. The wings just have that sort of subtle curve to them at the moment. They still need all the ridges adding. Also with the head, although I've done the lower jaws and things, they have these kind of little spiky bits that are in the middle, and I need to add those in separately as well. I'll do those at the next stage. Okay, so you can see here I've added all the ridges to the wings, but also those little tiny details to the lower jaw. They'll all show up more, I think, when I paint it, but for now you've got those little spiky bits, and that makes all the difference. I've added this kind of flap on the back of the head. It's a sort of bony projection and makes it a lot more dinosaur-like. I also added a bit of extra milliput on the sort of snout area, which has kind of lengthened that a little bit and made it project outwards a bit more too, and I think that's worked quite well. You see similar ridges on the jaw on this side as well, and then more wrinkles on the neck, and also you can see these ridges on all the wings. So these are just little tiny thin sausages of milliput added on, and then just kind of merged in with a ball stylus at the edges. They'll look much better when they're painted, but for now they're adding a bit more texture to those wings. So at this point I was ready to paint him, and I decided to use a coat of black over the whole creature to start with. I'm going to be using System 3 acrylic paints for all of the painting on this. When you paint something completely solid black, it does lose quite a lot of detail straight away. You don't see it because all of the deepest areas all kind of merge into the higher areas, but that doesn't matter. This is a really good way of getting the dark down into all of those really deep areas. Then when you're dry brushing, you're just dry brushing onto the higher up surfaces, and that gives a really good effect of the light hitting the creature. For the next stage, I'm just going to be mixing a really dark brown and dusting it over the top of all of this with a dry brush effect. So for the dark brown, I just use red, green, that's cadmium red, emerald green, and then a tiny bit of black as well. So it is a really dark brown, and I'm hoping the camera picks it up a little bit. You can just see it like on all of the higher up places. The dry brushing, you can be really quite loose with this and just go really quite quickly over everything, but all of the deepest areas, like in between all the wrinkles and in all the deepest areas, that all remains nice and black. So it does start the effect of making it look a lot more kind of three-dimensional and starts picking out some of the details straight away. Right, for the next colour I decided to mix some yellow ochre with a little bit of cadmium red and a tiny bit of the dark brown that I'd used already. Mix that all together to get this really nice reddish brown colour. And you can see here I've mainly put that on the bits of the wings that meet the body. and on the little fin on the back as well. And I've tried to do like a sort of little curve going up into the dark. And this wasn't dry brush, this was just using a tiny little brush and just kind of building it up gradually. And that seems to work quite well. I did then dry brush a few little bits on the legs, mainly going sort of underneath the muscles each time, and that worked quite well, and also under the neck just a little bit, just to dust it on, so that you get that sort of gradient in colour going from the reddish brown to the dark brown to the black. So for all the last stages that were going to make it pop, I decided to use a bit of yellow ochre mixed with some white, just to make a really pale yellow ochre colour. And again, this is just very lightly dusted. When you're doing the brightest colours, it's worth making sure that your brush is really as close to dry as possible. That just means that everything you're dusting on very lightly, and you can build it up very gradually. I noticed on my reference photos that there are these bulges on the neck just at the back of the head, and I hadn't put those on yet. There's no reason though why you shouldn't take some Milliput and add some extra features at any stage through this. So I put those on, started painting them. You can see where I've dusted on this really pale yellow ochre colour, just on like the edges of the wings and those sort of ridges, and right on the top surfaces of things like the legs and the toes on the feet, that kind of thing. Very lightly dusted, and that is just enough to kind of make it look like the light is hitting it in various places. Gives a much more three-dimensional effect, lightens the whole creature overall. I also painted the base. I just mainly used yellow ochre for the base, with a couple of other colours mixed in, but just in really small amounts. And that seems to give it a nice kind of sandy base colour, and it will tie in really nicely with the other two creatures that I've made from the other movies. I hope you approve of my Arse Blaster. I'm going to show you the other creatures that I made from Tremors and Tremors 2. I have got separate videos on those, so you can go away and watch those if you want to. Let me know in the comments what you think of this one though, and it'll be quite nice for you all to see them next to each other as a sort of comparison. So this was the first one that I made, the GRABBOID. Obviously none of these are to scale because the GRABBOIDs were really massive great things. Then the Shriekers were nowhere near as big, the walking ones. But you can see here, look, the little tiny kind of grabbing mouths, they were really fun to do. And then all of those ridges and things. When I watched Tremors when I was younger for the first time, I just absolutely loved it, and I've watched it so many times since then, and every time I watch it I love it even more. It's such a great movie just because there's so much comedy in it, and it's just really kind of light-hearted, but all of the creature effects are amazing as well. Kind of simple but really effective. With this one you can see that obviously I made a little mound for him to go on, and then I just stuck a whole load of sand and stones, bits of grit and things in there, and that gives it a lot of nice texture. I was really pleased with this one when I made it, and I still am. I really like it in my kind of creature collection, and especially with the Shrieker next to it. But then obviously it was never going to be complete in my mind until I'd done the Arse Blaster as well, so I've got all three life cycle stages now. Okay, next we have the Shrieker. This is probably my favourite of the three sculpts, just because it's not necessarily my favourite actual creature. I like the Graboids best, but I was really pleased with all of the details that I'd put into this. And it's really, again, quite sort of dinosaur-like. I love all the textures. I also used a glue gun with this one to create these kind of blobby, gloopy sort of saliva effects, and the slime effects coming from those top flaps as well as from in the mouth. I was also really pleased with the colours that I used on this one. It just works really well with all of the wrinkles and all of the textures. Again, this was all kind of dry brushed, all the lighter colours, all the darker colours sink down into all of the creases and things. Just makes all of those creases really show up and really look like skin. So I was particularly pleased with this one. I also love the really bright red flashes and the way that sort of fades from red into orange into the skin colour. I was pretty pleased with that as well. So that's the Shrieker. My wife was particularly pleased with all of these because they were quite small models. I would have loved to have made any one of these like a lot larger. It would be a really cool project. But actually I'm quite pleased that they're all small because they fit in really nicely in my cabinet. So here you go, you can see all three of them together, and I think you'll all agree that they don't look too bad. I might end up painting this wooden base on the large graboid just because the other two have been painted, like this little base here, and they're kind of flat colours, so that might tie in better with the other two. Might do that at some point, but for the moment they're just really cool and I'm glad that I made them. Like I say, I love the Tremors movies. The first Tremors movie is still obviously my favourite, but the other two are cool as well. I just love anything with really weird creatures in. I do really like the idea at some point of adding some little actual people on the base with the graboid, just for scale, to show how huge it is. Let me know in the comments your opinions of these. I'd love to know which one is your overall favourite, for example. Also, I do have an ongoing list of movie creatures that I want to make, that I plan to make. But if you have any particular movie creatures you would like me to do, let me know that in the comments as well. And if it's a movie that I haven't seen, I'll probably go and watch it. If it is a movie that I've seen already, it might even be on my list anyway, and it might encourage me to get on and get that one made. I do quite like it when I can make creatures that show the whole sort of life cycle as well. So I have made an egg from Alien, for example. I've also made a face hugger and I've made a chest burster. So it's only a matter of time before I've got to make the whole xenomorph. That is definitely on my to-do list. I also made the creatures from Stranger Things. So I did Dart, the little kind of tadpole stage, and then I did the Demidog and the Demogorgon. So that was another nice one for me to do, to be able to show all the different life cycle stages. I've made so many different creatures from different movies. You'll just have to go back through my videos that I've made already and find them, because there's bound to be loads that you recognise. There are some that are a lot more obscure that you might not recognise, but they're all really cool looking creatures in their own right. I've got them all at the moment in my conservatory. They fill the whole conservatory, but they're all like looking at you when you go in there, so it's really quite a cool effect that you get when you see them all together. If any of you want to come and see some of my creatures in real life, I'm going to be hopefully at Birmingham NEC this year for Makers Central. That's going to be in May, so feel free to come and have a look at them. A huge thanks to Milliput for sponsoring this channel. If you haven't tried Milliput yet, go out and get yourself some. It's a really great product. Hit subscribe to see any videos that I post in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.